just look at this actually. So if you look at this pressure ratios, then P2 is nothing but it's your throat pressure or exit pressure, whatever it may be. So it is nothing but your exit pressure. So P2 is your exit pressure or throat pressure, which we already defined. And P1 is your inlet pressure. P1 is the inlet pressure. So this is this equation 10 what I have. This is the critical pressure ratio. Critical pressure ratio. Now let us see. See, as I told that we are trying to deal with different types of steams, and we will see what will be the value of P2 by P1. Okay, what will be the value of P2 by P1 based on the value of N. So as I told, for a saturated steam, for dry saturated steam, for dry saturated steam, okay, what is the value of N? Already I told it will be 1.135. Okay, let me substitute that. So P2 by P1 is equal to, this will be 1 point, so N will be 1.0, so it will, this will be uh, by P1 2 by N plus 1. So this will be 2 by N plus 1. Yes, N is greater than 1. 2 by N plus 1. Yeah. Yeah. So P2 by P1 will be, no, why it is no, because, yeah, why this particular thing is 1 minus N, why it becomes N minus 1 is actually because N is greater than 1. So I can write this as 2 by N plus 1 and then multiply and divide by minus 1 if I do. So in that case actually we will try to get this will become 2 by N plus 1 whole to the power of N by N minus 1. So that's how the expression changes. Okay. Now P2 by P1 will be, so 2 by 1.135 plus 1 whole to the power of 1.135 divided by 1.135 minus 1. So if I substitute everything in the calculator, so I am getting around say 1.135 divided by 1.135, 2 by 2.135, I am getting around 0.58. Okay, P2 by P1 is around, pressure ratio is 0.58. Then similarly for superheated steam, for superheated steam, for a superheated steam, your N value will be 1.3. So in that case, this P2 by P1 is equal to 2 divided by 1.3 plus 1 whole to the power of 1.3 divided by 1.3 minus 1. If I substitute, I am getting around 0.46. Okay, so the critical pressure ratios, what I am getting is 0.58 for a dry steam, and for a superheated steam, I am getting around 0.446. Now what I am going to do actually, I will try to substitute this equation number 10. Substitute this equation number 10 in my equation, which is the equation number 8. Okay, substitute the value of P2 by P1 in from equation 10 in equation 8 to get the maximum mass flow rate. Okay, substituting the value of substituting the value of P2 by P1, okay, from equation 10, okay, into equation 8 into equation 8, we get the maximum discharge. We get the expression for the maximum mass flow rate or discharge, whatever it may be. Maximum discharge or maximum mass flow rate. That means your m dot max is equal to, so I have my A2 divided by, look at this, we will go back to here, A2 to the square root of 2 into n by n minus 1 into P1 V1. Okay, if I want to write it as P1 V1, I can take this V1 outside. So this will become V1 square, so I can take V1 outside. So V1 square, if I multiply here in the denominator, I can take V1 outside. This is one way of getting the thing, or I can write it as V1 by V1, whatever it may be. So I can retain the same expression. Few textbooks, they will use only this equation and try to get it. And few textbooks, they use the equation number 8 and try to get it. So I'm going to use equation 8. So P1 V1, then wherever you have the P2 by P1, I will substitute by 2 by n plus 1. So wherever is there, I will substitute by 2 by n plus 1. So did I miss something here? Okay. 2 by n plus 1 whole to the power of n by n minus 1. Okay, let me substitute that. So A2 square root of whole thing square root of 2 into n by n minus 1. Okay, P1 by V1. Anyway, the square root is there full actually. Open the bracket. So wherever you have P2 by P1, I will substitute 2 by n plus 1 whole to the power of n by n minus 1. So here I have 2 by n. Okay, I have 2 by n minus, so I need to open the bracket. This will be 2 by n plus 1 whole to the power of n by n minus 1. Okay, whole to the power of n plus 1 divided by n. So this is a complete square root. Okay, complete square root. Okay, square root of it, square root of A2 into this particular thing. So let us try to simplify this. What will happen? So here I will get 2, so n cancel off, this will become the first quantity here. This will become 2 by n plus 1 whole to the power of 2 by n minus 1, because n cancel out. Here n will just, so it will become n plus 1 by n minus 1. Okay, that's what it's going to happen. So I can write maximum mass flow rate is equal to A2 into square root of 2 into n by n minus 1 into P1 by V1, open the bracket, this will become 2 by n plus 1 whole to the power of 2 by n minus 1 minus 2 by n plus 1 whole to the power of n plus 1 by n minus 1. Okay. Now, so if I take 2 by n plus 1, if I take this term outside, what will happen? Okay, if I take this term outside, what's going to happen? So this is all simplification, that's it. It's equal to A2 into square root of 2 into n by n minus 1 into P1 by V1, 2 by n plus 1 whole to the power of n plus 1 by n minus 1. I am taking it outside. So this will be 2 by n plus 1. So 2 by n plus, see, I have to the power of 2 by n minus 1. So then what will happen? I have to divide it by this particular, divided by n plus 1. So I can write it as minus of n plus 1 by n minus 1 minus 1. This is how I can write it. rather writing at the denominator this quantity. So that writing at the denominator, I can write it as to the power of minus n plus 1 and divided by n minus 1. Okay. Now if I look at this, actually what's happened? So if I take n minus 1 as common, so this will become 1 minus, so this will become 1 minus n by n minus 1. 1 minus n by n minus 1. Or I can write your mass flow rate m dot max is equal to A2 into square root of 2 into n by n minus 1 into P1 by V1 2 by n plus 1 whole to the power of n plus 1 by n minus 1, open the bracket, this will be 2 by n plus 1 whole to the power of 1 minus n divided by n minus 1 minus 1. Okay. Now, see what is this actually? See, this expression 2 into n minus n by n minus 1 into P1 by V1 into 2 by n plus 1 whole to the power of n plus 1 by n minus 1. Now 2 by n plus 1 whole to the power of minus, see I have 1 minus n by n minus 1. Okay, 1 minus n by n minus 1. So I will take that expression. Okay, I am going to take that expression and we'll try to simplify that. Okay, if you want, you can simplify that or you can retain as it is. So you can retain at this particular point, or if you want, you can further simplify this expression also. Both the way you can do that, or you can get in terms of only in terms of P1 V1 2 by n plus 1 whole to the power. So this simplification you can do, or you can retain at this particular point. Both the way it is done. Both the way this is correct. So this itself may be equation number. You can have this itself as equation 11. That itself as equation 11, where you have taken 2 by n plus 1, which is outside, to the power of n plus 1 by n minus 1, and you have this expression in terms of 2 by n plus 1. Or further simplification you can do. See, now this is a square root. See, you have the square root of it. What you can do actually, this particular quantity you can simplify. This quantity you can simplify further. Okay, if you want to simplify that equation, you can do that, or you can retain the same. So this is the equation for maximum mass flow rate. Okay, now if you look at that particular equation, it depends on this equation 11. If you look at it, it depends on the initial conditions P1 and V1. Okay, and the throat area or exit area. And if you look at the maximum mass flow rate is independent of your exit pressure, or what is the exit nozzle pressure? No, so I know where I have the P2 value. Okay, nowhere I have the P2 value, so that's what I can write. So I can write comments from this actually, from the above equation, from the above equation, the mass flow rate, that is maximum mass flow rate, is
sir.
Yeah.
If we solve that 1 minus n divided by n minus 1,
you'll end up at n minus 1 actually, and you'll end up with n minus 1.
no, we can write as n plus 1 by 2, no, directly.
No, it will become n minus 1 by n minus 1 actually. It will become n minus 1 by 2. It's because it's a minus. So what will happen? See, n into n minus 1 you have. So what will happen is your n minus 1 will just they cancel out.
Yeah.
What I have n, yes,
We'll have
n
minus 1 as common.
Yes. So this term, see, this term will become n minus 1 by 2. Okay. Then what will happen? This n minus 1, the n minus 1 will just cancel out. You will end up with 2 also will get cancelled out. You will end up with a2 into square root of 2 into 2 also. So n into p1 by v1 into 2 by n plus 1 into n plus, so n 2 by n plus 1 into n plus 1 by n minus 1. You can write in that form also.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, you can write it. So if you want, I can write it. So otherwise, this equation is more than sufficient. Most of the textbooks, they go with this equation itself. Or if you want, I can write that also. So if you simplify this expression, I'll write that, then I'll write the comments actually. So this equation is equal to a2 into square root of, okay, this will be 2 into n by n minus 1 into p1 v1 divided by, say, multiply by 2 by n plus 1 to the power of n plus 1 by n minus 1. So this will be simply n minus 1 by 2. Okay. Then this n minus 1, this n minus 1, this 2, they just simply cancel out, so that your maximum mass flow rate is given by a2 into square root of n into p1 by v1 into 2 by n plus 1 whole to the power of n plus 1 by n minus 1. So this is sufficient. This you can write, this is the equation. You can call this as 12. So equation, you can stop at equation 11 or you can go up to equation 12. So whatever it may be, if you look at this equation actually, so this is a function of, so your maximum mass flow rate, your depends on the final equation. So the maximum mass flow rate or discharge, what we call, depends on both from equation 11 or equation 12, depends on your P1 and V1, okay, that is inlet pressure and specific volume, the maybe the exit area or road area, whatever we call, okay, A2, that is exit area, and your what is the, and is independent of your exit pressure and is independent of the exit pressure P2. Okay. Say for example, I do have a CD nozzle. In that case, what will happen? This E2 will become throat area and P2 will become your throat pressure. So that's what you people can write. So now, if I try to look at this particular expression, if I try to look at this particular expression and see what will happen to your V max. Okay. So now, so I have this expression. What is it actually? P2. P2 by P1 is equal to 2 by n plus 1 whole to the power of, yeah.
Sir, can I repeat for what will happen for CD nozzle?
No, CD nozzle, what will happen? See, look at this. See, I do have a CD nozzle like this. So this is my convergent divergent nozzle. This is a convergent portion and your divergent portion. Okay. So now, this is your suction 1-1. Okay. And okay, this is your suction 1-1. This is your suction 2-2. This is your suction 3-3. So your fluid is entering from here. The fluid is entering from here. So it is A2 will become throat area and throat pressure. That's what is happening. If I have a converging nozzle, that becomes exit area and exit pressure. Okay. So the addition of the divergent part, what we have in a CD nozzle after the throat, will not have any effect on the mass flow rate. Are you getting? That means this A2 whatever becomes, this becomes critical. You hope you remember that we use something called as A star. That means even though I am trying to add this extra portion, so this is, let me color it. Remember, this is an extra portion which I am going to add in a CD nozzle. Okay, this is the divergent part. Let me write that. Even though if I had a divergent part to the CD nozzle, that is in the CD nozzle, this will not have any impact on the mass flow rate. Okay, let me write that. Okay, the addition of, so that is a note actually. See, the addition of the divergent.
Sir, but
Addition of,
sir, but hello,
yeah, tell me.
sir, but inlet pressure is not equal to the throat pressure, no, sir.
No, see, look at this. See, this pressure, what? No, that's what is independent of the pressure. See, this mass flow rate equation, what I am using, it's only related to inlet pressure. That's it. I nowhere I have a throat pressure, nowhere I have an exit pressure equation.
Yes, sir.
You look at the equation, either it's 11 or 12. So nowhere I have P2 or P3. What I have is P1 pressure, inlet pressure. I have the specific volume at the inlet, and I have the throat area or the exit area, which is very critical. So that's why A2 is written as A star. So this is nothing but critical mass flow rate. So that is the minimum area at which I am going to have a maximum mass flow rate. Are you getting?
So for
Even though you are
the
adding,
CD nozzle, hello,
no,
sir.
what I want to tell is, even though you had a divergent portion for the CD nozzle, that divergent portion doesn't have any effect on your mass flow rate.
Okay, sir. Okay.
But on velocity there can be. Okay, the divergent portion will have an maybe will have an impact on your exit velocity, but on the mass flow rate doesn't have any effect. Okay, the addition of the divergent part of the nozzle, the addition of the divergent part of the nozzle after the throat. Okay, after the throat, okay, does not affect the discharge, does not affect the maximum discharge, does not affect the discharge of the steam, maximum discharge of the steam through the CD nozzle, through the convergent divergent nozzle. That means whether you have a converging nozzle or a diverging nozzle, your throat area becomes critical. The throat area is very, very critical. It is not the exit area, it is the throat area. So inlet pressure, inlet specific volume, and how you are expanding, what type of steam it is, whether it's a dry saturated steam or a superheated steam. Okay, based upon that, I'm going to have the N value and then your critical area, that is your throat area. So these are the parameters. Okay. Now you have this value of P2 by P1, which is equal to 2 by N plus 1 whole to the power of N by N minus 1. Now if I try to substitute this expression in your velocity in equation 6, look at this. V2 is equal to 2 into N by N minus 1 into P1 V1 into 1 minus P2 by P1 whole to the power of N minus 1 by N. So now if I substitute for the P2 by P1, that is the critical pressure ratio, I will be getting the maximum velocity. Okay, the maximum velocity of the steam can be obtained by substituting the value of critical pressure ratio in equation 6. Okay, that's why I told it's a very lengthy derivation. There's a lot of maybe subtopic, sub derivations are there in this. Okay, shall I proceed? Your doubt is cleared, Akshay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Now let's try to do that. So the maximum velocity of the steam, okay, the maximum velocity of the steam, okay, can be obtained by substituting the pressure ratio P2 by P1 in equation 6 what I have showed. Then what it is actually then that V2 will become simply V2 max. So V2 max is equal to square root of 2 into n by n minus 1 into P1 V1 into 1 minus P2 by P1. So wherever I have P2 by P1, I will put 2 by n plus 1 whole to the power of n by n minus 1. Okay. This whole to the power of, already I have n minus 1 by n. So I am going to take square root of it. Okay. Now what will happen here? See, n minus 1 and n by n minus 1, they cancel out. So what I am left with actually, this will become, this is V2 max is equal to square root of 2 into n by n minus 1 into P1 V1 into 1 minus 2 by n plus 1. Okay. 2 by n plus 1 square root of it. So this is the expression. I can further simplify this. So what I can do, I can take this n plus 1 at the bottom as a denominator. This will become, so I will be getting n plus 1 minus 2. This will become n minus 1 by n plus 1. Okay. So therefore, this is V2 max is equal to square root of 2 into n by n minus 1 into P1 V1 into n plus 1 minus 2 divided by n plus 1. So this will become n minus 1 by n plus 1. So n minus 1 just they cancel out. I'll be getting with n by n plus 1. Okay. So this will be V2 max is equal to square root of 2 into, this will be simply n by n plus 1 into P1 V1, because n plus 1 minus 2 is n minus 1, they simply cancel out. I am left with only n by n minus 1. I am calling this as equation number 13. So this is the equation number 13, which gives the maximum equation, shows the velocity is also dependent on, look at this. Here also velocity, the maximum velocity depends on the initial pressures P1 and your specific volume, that is initial conditions. So I can write that also, let me write. So the above equation indicates, the above equation, so the above equation indicates that the exit velocity or the maximum velocity indicates that the maximum velocity also depends on initial conditions, depends on the initial conditions, that is P1 V1 and the condition of the stream anyhow. So whether it is a dry condition or it's super condition, everything is there. Okay, are you getting? So this is how, so you can get the expression for your mass flow rate, your critical pressure ratio, all those things.
Sir, what is the location of maximum velocity?
So
in
if
CD
the
nozzle?
maximum, see, you see CD nozzle maximum velocity, what will happen? This will happen at the your throat. Okay, the velocity will happen at the throat. But what will happen actually? You are having your divergent section. So divergent section will accelerate the fluid. So somewhere maybe nearer to the exit, that is at the point 33 I told, no, your velocity will be maximum. Okay. Now, instead of calling this as V2 max, I can call this as V max. So instead of calling it as V2 max, I can simply call this as the maximum velocity for a CD nozzle. If it is a converging nozzle, I can tell it will happen at the 2-2 section 2-2. But for a CD nozzle, this particular equation, I can simply call it, instead of calling it as V2 max, because it's not happening at 2-2. So even though fluid is getting accelerating even after your throat section. So here also the fluid is getting accelerating. So I'll be having somewhere the maximum velocity, this particular point, somewhere around 95% of your divergent portion, I would see the maximum velocity. And lot of you might have studied something about your gas nozzles and all. So where you have the back pressure, okay, you can see that that's the point at which you have the maximum velocity. That's why your CD nozzle, the cross sections has to be properly designed. Otherwise, what will happen? So because there are n number of reasons why the acceleration, even though I do have a diverging section, but how the acceleration of the velocity takes place, it depends on your design. At the same time, what velocity, your throat section, your throat, what is the amount of mass flow rate of the working fluid, whether it's a steam or a gas, how it is coming, it depends on many factors. That clear, Akshay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine.
Sir, one more.
Yes, Pita.
Actually, in equation 10,
Hmm.
while substituting for P2 by P1, like we have substituted 2 divided by n plus 1 into n to the power n divided by n minus 1. So, in equation 10,
Yes, tell me.
okay, sir, I got it, I
The
understand.
only reason is n is greater than 1, that's it.
Yeah, okay, sir.
The only reason is you won't find, you look into any textbooks and all. The only reason is actually they tell because n is greater than 1 actually. So the right hand part I'm trying to mod. Mathematically it is modified, that's it. There is no other reason. There is no other reason. Okay, is that clear? So this is how the critical pressures, all those things are calculated. Okay, now
JC was asking something.
yeah, Jason tell me.
Sir, one more doubt, sir. Equation number 13, sir.
13, okay.
So you are telling the maximum velocity. Okay, sir. Sir, in terms of CD nozzle, will the pressure quantity change with respect to P2, sir? From throat?
No, nowhere. See, if to find the maximum velocity, nowhere I'm going to consider your exit pressures, whether it's a throat pressure or exit pressures. It all depends on your initial conditions. Maybe recently one of your fourth semester guys, they were working on some kind of a CD nozzle to shocks and all, gas dynamics. So your Mach number or anything depends on your inlet pressures. Inlet conditions are very, very critical. Okay, in the same thing in steam nozzles as well as in gas nozzles, your inlet conditions drives your exit pressure or exit velocities.
Thank you, sir.
Even the condition of the steam also, whether I have a superheated condition steam, others have a dry condition. So very rarely we will have the wet steam actually. Very rarely we'll have a wet condition steam. Hope you remember that I was telling something about your the first class. I was telling about the continuity equation. Okay, where is it actually? Yeah, somewhere your m dot is equal to rho AV, all those things, or I can write m dot is equal to AV by C or AV by your specific volume and all. So now same thing if I try to write it in differential form. So I can write it as d of rho AV. So if I write it in terms of equate it to 0, so I can write d rho by rho plus dA by A plus dV by B is equal to 0. Okay. Now the same thing I'm going to, same equation what I told, I will write it in detail actually, because on that day people are asking why I am writing it. So let's consider the equation of continuity. Let us consider the equation of continuity. So why do we have a converging, why we have a diverging, all those things. This will answer a little bit of your whatever the doubts you have. The equation of continuity, if you look at it actually, this is the equation of continuity. So what we have is mass flow rate is equal to rho A V or I can write A into V divided by your small v, because your rho is equal to 1 upon the specific volume, and this is equal to some constant. Okay, is equal to some constant. If I write it in differential form, write it in differential form, what I'm going to get actually, this will be simply, I can write it as rho AV, and this should be equal to, so 0. This should be equal to 0, or I can write, if I try to write with respect to differentiate it, and d rho by rho plus dA by A, or dV by V, and equate it to 0. So for a incompressible flows, okay, for an incompressible flow, if I consider for an incompressible flow, so what will happen to your d rho by rho? It's approximately negligible. So I am end up with dA by A plus dV by V is equal to 0, or I can tell dA by A is equal to minus of dB by V. What is it actually? For a converging passage, if I am trying to take an incompressible fluid, it is going to accelerate. Or if I take a diverging passage, that is a diffuser, the fluid has to decelerate. So that's it. So for a converging passage, for incompressible fluid, there is an acceleration. And for a diverging passage, the fluid has to decelerate. That's that particular thing. Simple logic. Okay. So from the above expression, for a converging passage, the fluid has to accelerate. Because I am trying to handle a income, fluid has to accelerate. Or for a diverging passage, the fluid has to decelerate. I can write it as, or vice versa. But what about for a CD nozzle? CD nozzle is a very special type of nozzle, where in the converging portion also we could see there is a acceleration of the fluid, and it will further accelerate in the diverging portion. So that's why CD nozzle, converging diverging nozzle, is taken as a special case. It's a special type of a nozzle which has been designed so that I will get the higher Mach numbers. If you want to get a higher Mach numbers or higher acceleration of your maybe burnt gases or gas nozzles or your steam and all, we'll try to use the CD nozzle. That's the reason. Okay, fine. So we discussed on the nozzle efficiency and all. Now, when we try to look at the expansion of the nozzle on a HS diagram, so what will happen? Okay, so if I try to look at the HS diagram, how the expansion takes place. The expansion usually takes place from a higher pressure to lower pressure. It's an isentropic expansion. Or if it is an something like, if it is an axial expansion, I could see because of the friction, it takes an axial path, and we'll end up with what is called as the what we called as a nozzle efficiency. See, is there a relationship between your area, velocity, and the pressure in a nozzle flow? Okay. Now, so what will happen when we take a steam in a nozzle? It enters at some pressure, P1, V1, and it exits at some velocity. It may be a section, depending upon the section what we are taking, P2, V2, or whatever it may be. What relationship exists? See, if I have the what is the what we can call it as the Mach number relationship. is this, whenever I try to speak in terms of Mach number, the velocity of the sound comes into picture. Okay. So usually in your mind, if I take for a subsonic flow, for a converging nozzle, what will be your dP by P? And what will be your dP by P? That is your pressure gradient, or what we call it as pressure dP by P for a converging portion and for a diverging portion. And if I go for a supersonic flow, where your Mach number is greater than 1, so what will happen to your divergent flow? What will happen to your convergent diffuser? Okay, so these things is what we are going to look in the next class actually. So the relationship between the area, the velocity, and the pressure in a nozzle flow. So that's what we are going to look at. So we'll try to, because that takes good amount of time to